I have forgotten how to do it. Broadcasting from the Lintwoods in the Hughes Forest, Mason County, Washington, the South Sound of the Evergreen State. Anybody watching? Hello, anybody, as my old friend Jim Eason used to say. What is going on? Everybody, download the HAPS app if you haven't already, and subscribe to me. This video should be shown on my YouTube. It should be on my Facebook. It should be on my Twitter. It should be on my Instagram. It should be everywhere. And I love HAPS because it just consolidates everything. I'm going to see if anybody's popping on here to say hello. I'm going to show you a little bit of the woods here. This is the backyard. And there's Tootie. There's Tallulah. My mother-in-law's and father-in-law's Gordon Sutter. She's a puppy. Love her. So this is the yard, but as you can see, there are gates that go into the woods. And we have 5 acres of woods, and it's beautiful. These are foxgloves. Anybody watching, by the way, I have no idea whether anybody's seen this or not. Come here, baby. Come here. Say hello to everybody. Say hello to everybody, Tootie. Come here. Tootie. Oh, she just tackled me. People are popping on here. Balin, what's going on? It's been over 8 years. Wow. My goodness. I was taller then and I had hair. Laura, hello. Thank you. It is beautiful. These are foxgloves, and these are technically a weed. It's interesting. Humankind, and all its infinite wisdom labels this beautiful creature a weed. Isn't it funny? I wonder what the trees would call us. They would call us little pesky little assholes, I think. If the trees could name us, if the vegetation could name us, we'd be pesky little assholes, I think. Isn't it funny how we're just so full of ourselves? We're like, this is a weed. This is a weed. Well, it's the most beautiful weed I've ever freaking seen. It looks like something out of a Smurfs cartoon or something. Look how beautiful this thing is. Will, how are you doing, my friend? Balin says, I don't know why you haven't been popping on. It's like you haven't existed. Well, I haven't done any videos in a while, to be fair. And these will bloom all the way to the top. Look at this. Look at this. These grow like weeds. So I guess people consider them a weed, but I consider them little miracles. Sometimes you look in them and you'll see a little bee sleeping in them. Bees love going in and out of these things. Just look at the perfection of nature. Everything is perfect. We just make everything complicated. Everything is perfect. Everything's in a perfect state. Everything's good. Everything's as good as it's supposed to be right now. And we come along and we kind of F things up, you know. You can see some there in the distance beyond the fence. They just grow. Whoops, what did I do there? I don't know how to zoom in. I'm trying to zoom in and I can't, but they're right there beyond the forest. You can see this goes back several acres. And it is just absolutely gorgeous. I just love this time of the I'm charging my Fitbit, so I don't even know what time it is, but it is actually beyond evening. It's like nighttime now. And look at all the sun that is in the sky. Look at all that blue sky, and it is nighttime. It's like, it's got to be 8 o'clock at least right now. Jason Leyland, what is going on? We are in Washington State. We are in Western Washington. We finally got out of California. I have a feeling this is like a bear. I don't want to think that a bear would get that close to our fence, but I don't know what else this would be. I've always heard that's like signs of bear. I mean, we have bear here. We personally haven't seen any, but there are bear in here. Little brown bear. They don't hurt you. You know what? My in-laws have moved in with us. It's a wonderful thing when you love your in-laws and they move in with you. It's not so wonderful, I guess, if you don't like your in-laws, but if you do. So they got out of California and they are living with us. I broadcast on KMAS. It's funny. I went from 2 million listeners a week to a small independently owned radio station in Western Washington, and I've never been happier. I've never been happier. It's funny. I've worked for ABC. I've worked for Disney. I've worked for iHeart. I've worked for all these major companies, and I'm not. I wasn't as happy as I am right now. What you doing there, Tootie? What you sense out there, huh? Laura says nature's beautiful animals are too. I want out of California maybe next year. I totally hear you. Hello there. So I guess people are watching. That's good. People are watching this little sliver of paradise here we call home. And I'm a lot different than you knew me from several years ago. Um, I'm not the person I used to be. Look at all this moss on this tree here. I absolutely love this, and I don't know why I'm not able to zoom in. Okay, here we go. There we go. I don't know how well you can see that, but man, the moss. This is this is called rainfall, folks. My friends and family in California don't know what rainfall is, but this is what happens when you have rainfall. You end up in a rainforest. The video is, excuse me, it's kind of pixelated on my end. I don't know why. I apologize. It's kind of. I'm going to keep the long shot here because when I zoom in, it looks kind of weird. Wow, you used to watch my live stream back then? Yeah, I'm very different. No, 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 no. Hey, 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 hey. No, 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 no. What are you doing? You're trying to push your whole body through there. You can't do that. You can't do that, silly. What are you doing? Are you eating wood again? Glad to see life is good. I hope everything continues going great. Thank you. I appreciate it. I appreciate that very much. Look at this shot of the woods here. It's nighttime and the sun's still up. I mean, it's crazy. Ferns grow here the way weeds grow in most places. Look at this. It's coming over the fence line. I don't know if the microphone's picking up the birds, but can you guys hear the birds? Wait till you hear the barred owls. The barred owls. Oh my God, they're so cool. The sounds of the barred owls. We have owls in our woods. I've only seen them fly overhead a couple of times. I've never seen them in a tree, but they are loud and incredible. I wake up at like 3:30 every morning for the radio show. It's a morning drive show, and we have to get up early for it. And this forest, you think the birds are loud now? At 3:30 in the morning, somehow every bird in this forest is awake and alive and just singing with everything in them. And I don't get it. I don't know why birds are up so early. I mean, like, why don't they sleep in? I mean, they don't have jobs, do they? They don't have jobs, do they? Why do they get up so early? Port Angeles. Oh, I love that whole area. Port Townsend's one of my favorite cities around. Yeah, it's so peaceful. I get to come home to this every day. And I do a podcast, which I want to talk about a little bit. I want to tell you guys about my podcast. It's called Hughes from the Heart. And I have a free version, which is nice. And I have a paid version, which helps us stay alive. So try the free version, but don't get too stuck on it. If you like what you hear, join the paid podcast, and that helps. It helps me feed my children. So I think it's a nice podcast. It's different from anything I've ever done before, and it brings me peace and serenity and tranquility. And I have a whole new perspective on life than I ever had before. And I hope in this crazy world of post 2020 elections and post 2020 pandemic and just post insanity and everybody screaming at each other and everybody, I'm right, you're wrong, it's my way or the highway. If you've had enough of that, please join my podcast, hughesfromtheheart.com, and click on support. And look at this. She's so funny. Look what she's doing. She's dragging that entire stick. It's a whole branch. She's dragging a branch around. Are you a bit scared with all these missing people in forest areas like this? No, I don't even know who's missing. Who's missing? Is there like a wave of people missing? Nah. Everybody's armed up here. It's kind of cool. I'm not going to get political on you, but everybody's packing heat up here. It's actually open carry in Washington. If I wanted to, I could carry a sidearm, but I don't. But here, if anybody messes with you in the forest, they get a bullet between their eyes. So they'd be kind of stupid to mess with you. It's not like California, that's for sure, where you could be screaming bloody murder and nobody comes to your defense and you're not allowed to defend yourself and the bad guys are the only ones that have arms. It's not like that at all. Oh, Laura, thanks a lot for being on Patreon. I appreciate it. Thanks for being on Patreon. And that's what I want people to join if they can. Patreon.com/Spencer Hughes. Let's go up here. I want to show you some of my favorite trees up here. So this isn't, I mean, this is the cusp of the forest. We're not even in the forest. But there's just like ferns everywhere. There's ferns everywhere. So this is just a fenced in area to keep the dogs in and keep predators out. We have mountain lion, but not, cougar. Mountain lion's a California term, I guess. They call them cougar in these here parts. But we've heard them. We haven't seen them. But they'll pretty much leave you alone. But look how much light there is. Anybody want to give me a time check on the West Coast? Because I don't have my watch. I don't have my watch on me, so I don't know what time it is. But look at, if you can see all this blue sky, it looks like it's like 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Anybody on the West Coast give me a time check? I have no idea what time it is. I would guess it's like close to 8 o'clock. It has to be because I got off work at 6:30, got home around 7:15. It's got to be after 8 now. If I had to give a good guess of time, I'd say it's 8:16. Let's see how close I got. I want to say it's 8:16 p.m. 8:07 p.m. I'm pretty close. Got within less than 10 minutes. Thanks, Laura. That's another one of my favorite trees right there. I think it's a maple of some sort, I believe. Thank you for the time check. I got pretty close, but for 8 p.m., I mean, it's dark in California right now. I mean, look how much light there is in the sky. Pretty cool. So anyway, if you are so inclined, join my podcast. I would love it. I thought by now, honestly, 3 years into it, I thought I'd have 100,000 people on there, and I have 155. I have less than I did 2 years ago, and they want me to be the kicking and screaming Spencer. They want me to be the political Spencer. They want me to be the Spencer that says Trump's going to take back the country in August, and just all this other craziness. It's absolute craziness what's going on in the world right now. And people really think that Trump's going to like somehow get back into the White House in September. He's going to cause another insurrection. He's going to cause more bloodshed, and it's just more of the same bullshit. It really is. And I wish people would just wake up and break away from it all because it's poison. It's absolute poison. And you have both sides drinking the Kool-Aid. And it's tragic. It's tragic for the country. It's tragic for our consciousness. It's tragic for the world. And each side thinks they're right. The other side is wrong. Their side has the only merit. The other side has no merit. And people are just under this delusion that like Trump is really the president right now. It's really scary. It's really, really delusional and very scary that people think that he's somehow going to be back in the Oval Office signing legislation like in September. That's the latest thing people are believing. And the more Trump says that, the more I have to ask what happens when October rolls around and he's not back in the White House. What's going to happen then? Are they going to storm the Capitol again? Are they going to kill more people? Are they going to cause more mayhem? I mean, what happens if he says he's going to be back in the White House in September, and October, November, December rolls around, he's still not in there? What's going to happen then? Nobody wants to ask that. Well, I appreciate it. Thank you very much, Robert. Is that you, Robert? I have a terrible memory when it comes to screen names and stuff, but I think that's Robert Rios there. Just want to make sure. If you guys don't mind, I have no way of knowing who's. It looks like there's 19 people watching, which is awesome. Oh, by the way, there's a way you can kind of tip me on here. People give me like, they throw me like 50 cents. It's kind of cool. All goes into the same thing, keeping the internet up. We have a satellite bill here that you wouldn't believe. It's like rent in some parts of the country, and it's absolutely substandard internet, but it's the only thing I got out here. So if you throw a few coins either through here, through this app, if you're on the Haps app, you can do that. Or I have a Venmo. And all of it goes back into the podcast, and it also goes back into the community. I'll buy homeless people meals. I will pay it forward, pay for people in line behind me. I'll buy diapers for a women's shelter. I'll buy blankets for a teen center. I'll do stuff like that too. But that's my dream right now, is to grow Hughes from the Heart into a big deal. It's not a big deal right now, and I want to grow it into a big deal, because the bigger deal we are, the more hearts and minds and souls we can touch, and that's ultimately what I'm trying to do. I'm almost out of battery, I think, and my signal keeps tanking, so I don't know who's still watching or not, but I appreciate if you're watching. Maybe you're watching on YouTube, maybe you're watching on Instagram, maybe you're watching on, I was going to say Periscope, but Periscope does not exist anymore. Does not exist anymore. But this goes to my Facebook pages, it goes to my Twitter, it goes to Instagram, it goes to all sorts of places. So it's kind of cool and reach a lot of people this way potentially. So check it out, HughesFromTheHeart.com. If you like what you see and hear, you can click on support. There's ways you can support it. And my Venmo, I guess you can't link to Venmo because Venmo's like an app, so you can't link to it like you would a website. So just remember Radio Spencer. That's my Venmo. And Venmo is a way to transfer money. People, you buy things on there. You pay people back. When people go to like dinner these days, I guess everybody like splits the bill 18 ways, and then they Venmo each other the money for the bill. So if you want to Venmo the podcast, you could do so at Radio Spencer. Laura says it's crazy what's going on. You'll be happier to stay in the forest, keeping up on current events. Thank you, Spencer, here on YouTube. Thank you, Laura. Thanks for watching on YouTube. Is the quality good? Is the video good? I'm seeing it really kind of splotchy on my phone, and I don't know if that's how you're seeing it. You know what I mean? Like when I move here from right to left, it's pretty trippy. It's like it's all pixelated and it's weird. It's weird. I don't know if you're seeing it smooth or not. God, these mosquitoes. These mosquitoes. They're coming out. They know I'm doing a broadcast, so they want to suck me dry. Look how pretty that is up there. Isn't it crazy that it's after 8 o'clock at night? Yeah, so anybody who joins the podcast, anybody who Venmos me a donation, anybody who supports the podcast tonight and any night, any day, I will do a video shout out just for you. I will do a video shout out just for you. Video is good, sound is good, just sound with an echo like you're in a studio. I'm using these earbuds because it's better quality than the phone. Whoops, I'm blocking the camera. I'm using these, so I don't know if that's what's causing the echo. But it's usually better sounding than if I'm going off the iPhone. So sorry about that. There's a little bit of an echo. But anyway, I'm going to go inside. I'm getting up at, I think I'm going to get up at, I got a lot of podcasting to catch up on. I work tomorrow from 9 to 6:30. So I think I could sleep until 8, leave the house by 8:30, get to work by 9, but I'm going to get up at 4 instead. I'm going to get up at 4 o'clock. And people say, well, why don't you sleep in? Because I podcast. I'm going to podcast for my supporters and my subscribers at 4 tomorrow morning. And I'm going to try to get a lot of content out there over the next several days. And I work so many damn hours. I'm trying to change that, by the way, but I work so many damn hours I don't always get a chance to podcast, so I have to sometimes line them up on a Saturday, record them, and then stagger them out. That's the nice thing about our topics is they're all evergreen topics. We talk about happiness, we talk about mindfulness, we talk about mindset. We talk about how mindset is everything. You create your world. There's two worlds: the world that you were born into, right? The world that has a war going on, perhaps, the world that has certain sports teams making it to the World Series and the playoffs and the Super Bowl. You were born into a world where you're a Muslim or a Christian or an agnostic or an atheist or a Jew, or you're black or you're white or you're green or you're purple. You're born into that world. And then there's a secondary world going on where, and that's the world you create. And you create it with your thoughts. It all lives inside your head. It's one of the most exciting discoveries I ever made in my life is that we live in two worlds: the world that was here before we were born and that we came into, and that's the world that is what it is. It is what it is. You came into this existence at a certain time, in a certain place, in a certain culture, learning a certain language, adhering to certain principles and values and mores. And the secondary world, creating a world right now through this camera and through this phone and through this social media platform that you're on. You're creating this world. You're watching this and listening to my voice right now. That's a creation. You could be reading a newspaper and not even and be totally oblivious that I'm even broadcasting right now. That would be your existence there. And this is a world that we created. We created this fence post, and we had somebody put up this fence. And I'm showing you the fence. So now you're thinking about the fence. Do you see how that works? You weren't thinking about this fence 10 seconds ago, even though it's been in every shot in this video pretty much. You weren't thinking of the fence, but now you're thinking of it. And it's the same idea when you say to somebody, don't think about your bills. Don't think about your bills. First thing you do is you don't listen to me. You think about your bills. You start obsessing about your bills. Maybe you start getting depressed about your bills. But you weren't thinking about your bills 10 seconds before I said that. You weren't thinking of it even a millisecond before I said that. Now I said, think of your bills. And you're like, oh my God, that's right. He's right. I have the mortgage due. It's late. It was due a week ago. It was due a few days ago. I got the rent due. I go, I'm behind on my this, on my that. Thanks a lot for mentioning my bills. Well, see, it's whatever you're thinking of. But what's cool is you can think about this tree right now, and you can think about the birds singing, and you can think about the blue sky, and you can think about those awesome clouds way over my head. And then you stop thinking about the bills, and you're thinking about these clouds over my head, and the blue sky, and the tall trees, and the ferns, and the foxgloves, and the animals. And then you start thinking about that. So whatever you put your focus on, you're bringing more into your world. And that's why when you focus on your problems, nobody wants to be around you because that's the energy that you emanate. And if you focus on being happy, if you focus on being positive, if you focus on the good things in life, that's what you will bring more of. It's all common sense. It's all really common sense. And people don't know how easy it is. And people say, well, I can't stop thinking about my bills. Well, yeah, you can. You absolutely can. Um, you just start thinking about something else. You start thinking about something else. Turn on the TV if you have to. Read a book. Read the words on a page of a book. I dare you to do it. If you do that, you'll stop thinking about your bills. You can't think about what's on the page of the book and read it and soak it in and comprehend what you're reading while thinking about the bills. It's impossible. You can't, your mind can't focus on those two things at the same time. It's why you can't be happy and sad at the same time. You cannot be simultaneously angry and simultaneously grateful, right? You can't. All right, my battery's down to 10%, and I'm going to shut the video off now. Again, if you missed the beginning, these are these foxgloves. And humans, in all their infinite stupidity, call this a weed. They call it a weed of sorts. You want to call this a weed? You can call it a weed. I call it effing beautiful. That's what I call it. You too, Laura. Thank you very much. Thanks for all your support, my friend. It means a lot to me. There's some more foxgloves in the background. And one of the coolest things when I drive home, I'm driving into the driveway, these things in the wind, the leaves will move around like this, and it looks like they're waving. It looks like those little things you put on the dashboard of your car, like the little dancing, bobbing flowers. and the solar little panel on them makes them move. I swear to you, in a little breeze, it looks like these things have hands that they're waving at you. It's the weirdest, most beautiful thing in the world. All right. Well, thanks to the crowd that's here. If you like what you hear, if you like what you see, come join me in the Hughes Forest and the Linth Woods. I'm here every day, and you can join it by going to hughesfromtheheart.com. And if you want to support it, my Venmo is Radio Spencer, and you can also click support on my website. You can become a sponsor. You can email me. You can do all sorts of cool stuff. And it's at hughesfromtheheart.com. Much gratitude for you being here. Thank you very much, my friends. Much love to all of you. What world are you creating for yourself? Is it a positive one? Is it a negative one? Is it a happy one? Is it a sad one? Is it one filled with turmoil and with problems and with death, disease, destruction, and debauchery? Well, if it is, you're probably watching the news tonight. The mainstream media wants you to be scared. The mainstream media wants you to be stupid. The mainstream media wants you to be malnourished in the brain and in the body. The mainstream media gets its ratings up the dumber you are, frankly. So keep being dumb if you want. Keep watching the 10 o'clock news. Keep obsessing about everything wrong in the world. That's all the mainstream media is going to tell you about anyway. And maybe as a little token, their final little token in the last 20 seconds of a newscast, they'll tell you about a little dog that was lost and was found. And they'll tell you about Girl Scouts selling cookies and raising money. And they'll save that for the last 30 seconds. They've scared you to death. They've scared you to death. And then in the last 30 seconds, they pander to you, giving you a little story about a little chipmunk that jumped on a kid's shoulder and didn't want to come down. So they scare you to death. They cause phobias in you. They exacerbate your fears and anxieties and uncertainties and all the insecurities you have about living on planet Earth. And in the last 20 seconds, they'll tell you about, oh, look, this is a story of a dog. And they found the dog. The dog's been gone for like 400 years. And they found the dog. It finally came home after 400 years. This dog was lost. And it's just pandering. It's lowest common denominator. But it's where you put your focus. If you want to put your focus on the 10 o'clock news, I guarantee you it'll all be bad. It's all going to be bad. It'll be bad politics. It'll be bad climate. It'll be bad economics. It'll be bad culture. It'll be bad medicine. It'll be bad social. Everything about it will be bad because that's how the media makes its money. Death, disease, destruction, debauchery, deceit. I call them the diabolical D's. And that's how the media makes its money. I've been in the media 30 years. I know how it operates. I've worked with some of the best people in the business and some of the worst assholes in the business. And I'm telling you that that's how it works. The mainstream media makes its money off of plane crashes, train derailments, disease, pandemics, children being lost, children being kidnapped, dogs being boiled alive by some wacko that kills dogs and boils them alive. That's how the media makes its money. And you can keep making them rich if you want. I decide not to. I don't watch it. I know what's happening in the world. I co-host a variety show every morning, so I know exactly what's going on in the world, but I don't dwell on it. And I don't put into my heart, mind, spirit, and soul anything that I don't want in there. Anything that I don't want in there. I just don't put it in there. Same thing like I don't eat something that's gonna, poison my body, hopefully. I don't put poisons and toxins into my body, and I don't put poisons and toxins into my soul and my brain either. Is it me or does that look like an eye? It looks like this tree is looking at me. That looks like an eyeball to me right here. Looks like an eye kind of looking over that way. It's pretty cool. It looks like an eye right there. I know it's not an eye. Or do I? How do I know it's not an eye? How do I know this tree is not looking at me the same way I'm looking at it? I don't know that. See, humans think we're so smart. We think this tree is not looking at us. This tree is not conscious of what's happening around it. We don't know that. We really don't know that. We put our instruments to it. We'll put probes and wires into it, and we will determine that this tree is not conscious, doesn't have any type of consciousness. And that's just a way of us, feeling better about ourselves, really. We don't know. We really don't know anything. And that's one of the marvels of Hughes from the Heart is the admission. I think that's what liberated me the most from all the bullshit and the lies and the deceit and all the stuff I used to believe in. is coming to the conclusion that we really don't know much. We really don't. And if enough people humbled themselves and just realize that they don't know much of anything, and it's okay. It's okay to not know much of anything. It's okay to say to yourself, nothing is in control, that we're whirling through space on a planet, and it's a miracle that we're alive. It's a miracle that we're here. It's a miracle that I could hold a phone up in the middle of a forest and that you could be watching what's going on while I'm here and you're there. It's pretty cool. But let's stop trying to kid ourselves that we know how it all works. Because guess what? We don't. Take care, my friends. Much love to all of you. Thanks for watching. And join any way that you can. Join my YouTube if you're not on my YouTube. Join my Facebook if you're not on my Facebook. I even have a Facebook page for the podcast. It's facebook.com/usefromtheheart. I hope to see you there. Thanks, my friends. Much love to all. Be well in your heart, your mind, and your soul tonight and always.